Thanks for joining us on Plus TV Africa. I'm Benga Aboroa. Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has announced his defection from the All Progressive Congress to the People's Democratic Party. He made the announcement at a meeting with elected local government chairmen and councillors on Wednesday at the Government House in Makurdi. The announcement brings to an end months of speculations that the governor will return to the PDP as a result of his disagreement with leaders of the party in Benue and at the national level. Earlier, Benue youths comprising of over 40 groups had barricaded the gates of the government house in Makurdi and prevented the governor from attending a scheduled meeting with the national leadership of the All Progressive Congress in Abuja. The All Progressive Congress has described the defection of the Benue State Governor, Dr. Samuel Ortom, to the People's Democratic Party as somewhat surprising. Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, APC National Publicity Secretary, said this on Wednesday in Abuja while reacting to the development. The party recalled efforts made by its national chairman, Mr. Adams Oshomole, to address some of the grievances raised by the governor pertaining to the local politics in the state. He said the governor had left the meeting saying he was satisfied with the assurances given by party leaders and says we are still working on giving effect to the resolutions from the meeting. Therefore, we are somewhat surprised by Governor Ortom's decision, the statement said. The APC reiterated its earlier position that it respects the rights of every citizen to choose his or her political affiliation, but expressed hope that those who left his fold would rescind their decisions. The People's Democratic Party has welcomed Benue State Governor Dr. Samuel Ortom back into its fold and urged all members in the ruling All Progressive Congress to return to the party. In a statement, spokesman of the PDP, Kola Ologbodiyan, the party commended Ortom for showing patriotic courage and boldness in the face of brazen dictatorship. The statement said the return of the governor to the PDP confirms the fact that the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration and the APC do not have the welfare of Nigerians at heart. It hailed the governor for standing firm by the people of Benue State and refusing to mortgage their welfare to a government that has consistently demonstrated cluelessness. The Independent National Electoral Commission said on Wednesday that 48 political parties have filed nominations for the September 22nd governorship elections in Osun State. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakub disclosed this at the swearing-in of two resident electoral commissioners at the commission's headquarters in Abuja. Yakubu said that the commission was currently processing the nomination forms. He also said nomination of candidates closed on Tuesday in line with the timetable and schedule of activities released by the commission in October 2017. The two new resident electoral commissioners were Garba Madami and Ahmed Mahmood. The Lagos State Magistrates Court in Yaba has ordered that the chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos State, Moshood Salvador, and 10 others should be remanded in prison custody over the alleged murder of the party chairman in the Apapa local government area of the state, Adeni Aborishade. The remand order was made by Chief Magistrate Oyetade Kamalafe. The police told the magistrate that Aborishade was murdered last Saturday, July 21st, during the PDP's visitation meeting that held at Igbosuku village in Etiosa local government area. Those charged alongside Salvador were Rotimi Kujore, Fatah Adele, Amos Fawale, Victoria Falowo, Orokpo Isaac, Mohammed Babangida, and Ugochukwu Nwoke, amongst others. The arraigned, however, pleaded not guilty to the 2 counts pressed against them. The Inspector General of Police yesterday arraigned Senator Dino Melaye on a 6-count charge over the alleged attempt to commit suicide and escape from custody. Justice Silvanus Origi of the High Court of the FCT sitting in Akpo granted Senator Dino Melaye bail to the tune of 5 million naira with 2 shorties. In his ruling, he said one of the shorties must be a director of the civil service. The vacation judge also said that the presiding judge also said that failure to meet up with the bail terms the defendant would be remanded in prison custody. After the vacation, the case will be assigned to a judge. News just reaching us says the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, has told the police that there was no evidence that linked Senate President Bukola Saraki and the Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed to the armed robbery attack that left 31 persons dead in Offa, Kwara State. In April, Premium Times can now confirm. Malami advised in a June 22nd letter to the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, that the police would need to ramp up the investigations and also painstakingly explore all critical areas before identifying the Senate President as a suspect in the carnage, much less filing charges against him. Yusuf Abdul Wahab, Mr. Ahmed's chief of staff, who was among state officials arrested for allegedly conspiring with the prime suspects, was also cleared, with the prosecutor saying no evidence is credible enough to sustain any charge based on any offense known to law against him. The Attorney General's office said only 6 prime suspects should be charged to court for armed robbery and murder, which could draw capital punishment upon conviction. Olalekan Alabi, a personal assistant to Mr. Ahmed, was also recommended for trial, but only on lesser charges of illegal possessions of arms. We'll bring you more updates in our subsequent bulletin. The International Committee of the Red Cross yesterday clarified its role in the release of the abducted Chibok and Dapchi girls, stating that it was not involved in the negotiations for their freedom from Boko Haram. A statement by the communications coordinator of the ICRC in Nigeria, Alexandra Moispan, lamented that recent media articles have suggested that the International Committee of the Red Cross helped to negotiate the release of the abducted persons, which is incorrect. Mosiman said, as a neutral humanitarian organization, the ICRC cannot play such a role, which would be contrary to our principles of neutrality and is outside our mandate. Mosiman added that they helped transport the girls upon the request of the parties involved. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Zeid Al-Hussein, said persistent reports of grave human rights abuses in Cameroon must be investigated by the Cameroonian authorities urgently. The UN Rights Chief, who expressed concern over the situation in that country, condemned a widely shared video showing alleged execution of a woman, child and baby. Amid the backdrop of protests in the English-speaking northwest and southwestern regions of the country that escalated in the late 2017 into clashes between state military forces and armed groups, Zaid condemned an ambush in government motorcade that took place earlier this month. But he cautioned that the government's heavy-handed response would only make matters worse for women, children and men caught in the middle. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi says his country will continue to intensify, deepen and sustain engagements with the African countries. Addressing the Ugandan Parliament on India-Africa relations, Modi pledged to prioritize support to the continent. The address was streamed live at the Indian High Commission in Abuja with the Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Nigeria-India Relations, Mr. Shehu Aliyu, amongst those in attendance. Modi said that India's trade with Africa had exceeded $62 billion, adding that Indian companies had invested more than $54 billion on the continent. The Prime Minister also said economic ties with Africa was driven by the partnerships of innovation. The United States has expressed concern over the prevailing state of insecurity and violence within Ethiopia that has led to the displacement of over 1 million people. The U.S. Ambassador to Ethiopia, Michael Rayner, who was speaking at our Ethiopia Video Challenge Award ceremony in the capital, Addis Ababa, commended the sweeping reforms that have been implemented by the country's Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed. 41 years old Abiy Ahmed had taken Ethiopia and the broader Horn of Africa by storm since taking office in April by doing the unthinkable. When we return, we'll bring you the latest development on the Pakistani general elections, President Trump's meeting with European Union Commission chief, and more. Please don't go away. We'll be right back. Pakistani cricket icon turned politician Imran Khan inched closer to power today after a general election that has been marred by long delays in ballot counting and claims of rigging by opponents. With nearly half of the votes counted from Wednesday's elections, Khan's OF Pakistani Movement for Justice was in a commanding lead in the nuclear-armed Muslim nation. But supporters of jailed Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif said the counting process was an assault on democracy in a country that has had a long history of military rule. The United States has agreed to work towards lowering trade barriers with the European Union, Donald Trump said on Wednesday after a meeting with European Union Chief Jean-Claude Juncker. The two would work for zero tariffs, zero non-tariff barriers and zero subsidies on non-auto goods, he said. They also agreed to increase trade in services and agriculture, including greater U.S. soybean exports to the EU.
Strengthen this trade relationship to the benefit of all American and European citizens. This is why we agreed today, first of all, to work together towards zero tariffs, zero non-tariff barriers, and zero subsidies on non-auto industrial goods. Thank you. We will also work to reduce barriers and increase trade in services, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, medical products, as well as soybeans. We also will resolve the steel and aluminum tariff issues, and we will resolve retaliatory tariffs. We have some tariffs that are retaliatory, and that will get resolved as part of what we're doing.
Work towards zero tariffs on industrial goods. That was my main intention. We've decided to strengthen our cooperation on energy. The EU will build more terminals to import liquefied natural gas. As far as agriculture is concerned, the European Union can import more soybeans from the US, and it will be done. And we also agreed to work together on the reform of the WTA. This, of course, is on the understanding that as long as we are negotiating, unless one party would stop the negotiations, we will hold off further tariffs, and we reassess existing tariffs on steel and aluminium.
Chinese police took away a woman who sprayed herself with gasoline on Thursday in what was suspected to be a self-immolation attempt outside the U.S. Embassy, the state-run Global Times reported, amid reports of an explosion. Reuters could not immediately verify the report. A Reuters witness said Chinese police examining a vehicle outside the embassy, and social media showed pictures of smoke after an apparent explosion. Another witness said there were 7 to 8 police vehicles near the embassy and the road next to the complex had been closed off. U.S. Embassy officials did not immediately comment. We'll bring you business reports after this break. Do stay with us. The federal government has raised 66.9 billion naira at its bond auction as part of moves to finance the 2018 budget. The Debt Management Office said on its website that the bonds were auctioned in 3 tenors of 5, 7, and 10 years. This, it said, was to give its diverse investor base an opportunity to choose their preferred tenors. It said investors showed a strong preference for the 10-year bond with a total subscription of 50.51 billion naira compared to 40 billion naira that was offered. The government issues sovereign bonds monthly to support the local bond market, create a benchmark for corporate insurance, and fund its budget deficit. To get the new national carrier off its feet, the federal government will be injecting about 3.68 billion naira at the startup capital of Nigeria Air. The provision, amongst others, is contained in the outline business case recently approved by the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission and currently before the Federal Executive Council for approval. Meanwhile, airlines operators have expressed concerns over government's funding of the airlines and the high likelihood of interference in its operations that ordinarily should be run as a private business and compete fairly with other existing airlines. On the activities of the Nigerian Stock Exchange from yesterday, our business correspondent Irene Ubani brings us up to date on all the trades and deals that took place.
The Nigerian stock markets closed on a downward trend today as the all-share index dropped by 0.30% to close at 36,346.80. Some of the top gainers were Beta Glass, which rose by 5 naira 10 kobo, and Unilever, which rose by 45 kobo. On the list of top decliners were Forte Oil, which dropped by 2 naira 10 kobo, and WAPCO, which dropped by 1 naira 75 kobo. On sectorial indices, only the NSE Banking Index rose by 0.71%. Other sectors dropped. Market capitalization was 13.166 trillion naira, and the total deals in today's market was 4,327. Irene Ubani, reporting for Plus TV Africa.
Still ahead on Plus TV News is our roundup on entertainment and sports news. We'll be back in a moment.
And in entertainment, following recent reports that Chioma Davido's girlfriend dropped out of school and that her family are displeased about the speculations, the chef has reacted following a backlash on social media, saying people should keep shut if they don't know the truth about stories. Meanwhile, DMW chief Davido has also commented on social media, saying in pidgin English that he's currently observing the situation of things. He'll probably react at a later stage once his observations are over. Popular Nigerian actress Caroline Danjuma has shared the story surrounding the miraculous birth of her daughter. She disclosed this via her Instagram page that her daughter was born on the 13th of September 2014 with 2 holes in her heart whilst the actress was still battling with fibroids. She also shared that she had been given an ultimatum by the doctor who asked her who he should save if the situation turned for worse. She says, although she told the doctor to save her daughter's life, both of them miraculously survived despite complications during childbirth. American rapper Meek Mill is working to reform the criminal justice system since his release from jail in April. The 31-year-old rapper is working with the co-owner 76ers Michael Rubin to launch a foundation to help the system reform. In May, the rapper gave a speech at the Innocence Project Gala, which was an organization that seeks to pardon the wrongly convicted. And that's it on entertainment. The very best in sports right after this.
Hello and welcome to Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko with the biggest stories in the world of sports. And France defender Benjamin Pavard's stunning strike in his country's 4-3 second-round win against Argentina has been voted as the best goal of the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. And the goal was selected in an online poll where over 3 million FIFA.com users casted their votes. And Pavard's impressive strike was picked ahead of Nigerian forward Ahmed Musa's second goal against Iceland and 16 other sublime goals scored in Russia. And other previous winners include Maxi Rodriguez of Argentina and Diego Forlan of Uruguay, winning in 2006 and 2010 respectively. A newly promoted Premier League side, Wolverhampton Wanderers, have completed the loan signing of Spanish defender Johnny Castro Otto from La Liga giants Atletico Madrid. And Johnny Castro becomes the Midland club's second signing of the week after Portuguese international midfielder João Moutinho joined the Wolves Revolution from French Ligue 1 outfit AS Monaco in a deal reported to be around £5 million. He's here to make his debut for Spain, though he has featured 34 times for the youth team. Rob Green has completed his free transfer to Chelsea, and the 38-year-old becomes the latest addition to the squad, where he will provide competition as the third-choice goalkeeper. And Green was released by Huddersfield at the end of last season and has signed a short-term contract at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea bid to boost their homegrown quota. And in golf, world number 5, Lexi Thompson will miss the British Open next month so she can recharge her mental batteries, so she said. In a social media post, the 23-year-old American said the past 18 months have taken a tremendous toll on her. In March, Thompson said she still had nightmares about the 4-stroke penalty, which cost her victory at the ANA Inspiration in April 2017. And the British Open, one of 5 majors, starts on the 2nd of August at Royal Lytham. And Thompson said she hopes to return to defend her title at the Indie Women in Tech Championship, which starts on the 16th of August. And that is all for sports on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
And that's our news roundup of events. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Benga Aboroa. Have a wonderful day.